Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Look, let's get straight into this. Manchester United cannot sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it makes me funny how many people in the live comments think this is going to be my plea for them not to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because you read a title and think you know the answer. United cannot sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Not because I'm about to spend any time pleading that we keep him. That's not going to happen. That's not happening at all. When I say United can't sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I mean United can't sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I.e. the club, can't sack him. They won't, can't, and are not going to sack him. If Manchester United were a band, they'd be called Bon Jovi because they're living on a prayer. They are living on a prayer that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer turns this around because they cannot sack him. And this is what Manchester United have become. And Christmas is a time for charity, and United have become a charity. And no matter what excuses they throw out, and no matter whether you are Ole in or Ole out, the reality is Manchester United won't, will not, and cannot sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. A club that's one of the biggest clubs in the world has become a charity home where you can do whatever you like and you will stay. They have backed themselves into this small club mentality where they cannot sack a manager no matter how bad he does. And some would say, quite rightly, that what he's done, he deserves the sack. You know, he's lost to Watford, who have not won a home game all season and are bottom of the league. He's lost to Newcastle. You know, the games he's lost have been unforgivable, and the games he's won have been understandable because a team raises it against the top six and absolutely bottles it against everybody else. It's a big, big indication that the coaching isn't good enough, as we've spoken about before. But let me just explain this. Manchester United will not give out this official line. They will keep doing what I would advise them to do, which is we believe in the project. In the future, we're going to get better. We want to promote youth and invest in top class players. But the bottom line is we are too scared to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We have committed too much money to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The truth of the matter is he could lose to Newcastle, Burnley and Arsenal and he will still be in charge in January. He is unsackable. Well, people would say, well, nobody's unsackable. But Manchester United have got such people in charge that are so backed into a corner with this manager that they cannot sack him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the silent assassin, runs Manchester United in a way that nobody ever thought he would. Mr. Positive, he is in place and he is not going anywhere. And there's a number of reasons for this. First of all, you know it and I know it. Erling Haaland's coming to Manchester United in January. Erling Haaland's coming to Manchester United because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Erling Haaland's coming to Manchester United because that deal's already done. They cannot sack the manager that player is coming to the club for because Erling Haaland is coming to Manchester United. He may have already committed to United, but he's committed to United based on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They can't sack that manager because Erling Haaland is part of that deal for that manager. So they're not going to do that. So in short, we've already committed money to the January transfer window because most clubs do plan ahead, and that manager is intrinsic to the players that are coming in. I mean, I don't know whether anyone else other than Erling Haaland's coming in, but Erling Haaland's coming in because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So that's one reason. Another reason is they know full well when they remove Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and some fans would say they should, that they expose themselves. The protector, Ole's at the wheel, the ex-legend of the club, has protected the Glazers and Woodward for the last year. The minute they move him away, they expose themselves, they leave themselves open, and they don't want that. They'd rather have a barrier there to protect themselves. So they're not going to do that either. But the reality is, they are... Sorry, I've got something sticking in my nose. I don't know what that is. Bit of a cold coming. But the reality is, they have got this situation at Manchester United where they have got no contingency plan, no idea, and they are absolutely stubbornly going ahead with this. No matter how deep the ship has sunk, they are still thinking it's going to resurrect itself. They are praying. Like I said, they're John Bon Jovi singing Living on a Prayer. They've got no idea other than to go ahead with this plan of jobs for the boys and a club that is completely broken by their hand. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not going to get sacked. He can't be sacked because they won't sack him and they will not sack him. Nothing is going to change at our football club. And I said this today. I was arguing with somebody on social media. I said, look, the reality is if you want to know what's going to fix Manchester United, in my opinion, and you're all going to have different opinions to me. If you want to know what's going to change Man United, in my opinion, new owners, new chief executive, director of football, new coaching staff, new fitness staff, new recruitment staff, and half a new squad. That's 7 things to do. And even then, we still might not catch up with Liverpool and Man City, but we'll have a better chance. 7 areas of our club need changing. And people think sacking the manager is going to do it. And also, Woodward runs the club. You know, I don't care what anybody says. Ed Woodward runs that club. And he is a banker with no footballing experience, with a, you know, Billy Big Bollocks, walking around think he does run the place. And United are in a bloody mess. And all these people just think, and they're right, they say things like, well, you know, you say changing the manager's not right. Well, I'm not saying changing the manager is the wrong decision. I agree. When you're losing to Watford, it's a big idea. Halfway, you know, a year in, that the manager's not good enough. I mean, look, I love Ollie, but I think we need to accept he's not good enough. Even those of us who want him to change it around, he ain't good enough. You know, unless he wakes up on Christmas Day and Santa's sprinkled some magic dust out of his sack on his head. And that's not a euphemism for anything. I mean, like, he wakes up on Christmas Day morning and suddenly he's a top class coach. I hope that does happen, but you know, on the face of it, he's not a very good coach, is he? So, yeah, look, I choose to enjoy Christmas with my family and watch the situation with Manchester United with passion and hope. But hope's not a word I want to associate with Manchester United. But this situation's a disgrace. It is a disgrace. I've been thinking about it today. It's an absolute disgrace. And you know what? I want to get into the comments here because Shaveen says, why would any world-class player want to come to United when a rebuild means finishing 8th? How long are we going to hide behind this rebuild talk? It's mad. We're going to hide behind it forever, mate. That's what I'm trying to say. We're not going to do anything major with this football club. We're just going to persist with what we've got, which isn't good enough. I mean, Luke Shaw came out and said, you know, really sorry for what happened yesterday. We all felt good. We were all confident. I'm sorry, Luke. I like you, but you've just given away the big problem with United there. You all felt good. You all felt confident. Coaches, players, right? Can I just tell you what the problem is? You're not good enough. None of you are good enough. You're all coaches. You're all players. You went into that game confident. Everyone was feeling good. You don't understand what happened. I do. You're not good enough. You are not good enough. And I tell you what, you get fans saying, oh, you can't be critical of the players, it's toxic, this, that and the other. I think every single Manchester United fan has every right now to sit here and say that team is not good enough, that coaching staff is not good enough, the owners aren't good enough, Woodward's not good enough, and if any of them are sat there, you know, pulling their cracker, I mean like a proper cracker with their family and friends, sipping on the mulled wine thinking, oh, those fans don't know anything, they're just being they're being horrible. No. This is reality time. This is wake-up call. This is not toxic fans. This is, and needs to be said, this is a bloody disgrace where this club is. And every player, every coach, every member of that Manchester United football club should be bloody ashamed of themselves this Christmas, because what they've done to that football club over the last 6 years is appalling. You are ghosts in that shirt. You don't deserve to wear that shirt. You don't deserve to go into Carrington and walk in the corridors that people like Sir Alex Ferguson did. You are a disgrace to the shirt. And that pains me to say it because I want you to be our heroes, but you are not heroes. You are heroes that you get in a Cadbury's box on a fire, melting. That's what you are. You know, hot chocolate, rubbish, absolute waste of time. And that's Manchester United at the moment. That's what we are. And I'm not guilty to say that. I think I felt guilt a lot over the last year. I felt a lot of guilt. And you lot throw it at me as well, but I have felt guilt. I feel guilty when I say Lingard's not good enough. You know, Maguire's not been great. I'm not too sure about McTominay and Fred. Have they got the creativity? You know, Rashford, you know, at times he's a bit wasteful with his final ball. Martial, my favourite player, but, you know, sometimes he's switching off. I've always felt guilty doing it because it doesn't feel right when it's your club. But I tell you what, it needs saying. It needs saying. A different take. Hey Mark, Arsenal fan here. Just thought I'd say thanks for constantly putting out entertaining videos. Your channel has helped me learn a lot about football, and for that I'm grateful. Oh, that's good from an Arsenal fan. And Jay Singh says, we ain't going to get Sancho, are we, Mark? How bad are we going to regret that in the future when he's playing for Chelsea? Lampard is doing bits. Well, this is a good point. I just want to talk about that. Ken Cunliffe says, you're Ollie out. Mate, grow up. It's bloody Christmas time. Like, actually do grow up. Like, if I'm Ollie out, I'll tell you if I'm Ollie out. I get bored of people not understanding what I'm saying when I say week in, week out, day in, day out. You know, you want to know what I want to happen. I said it at the start of the season and I've said it every bloody week after. If I've got a choice to sack somebody, I'm sacking Ed Woodward and the board. That's all that's going to change this club. I don't think sacking Ollie changes this club. If you want to sack him, and I've got the decision on it, and you're all saying sack him, I'll sack him. No love lost. I'll sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now, right here, because the results have been shit. I agree with that. But to be Ollie out, to me, it doesn't solve the problem. And I've got no problem with people who are Ollie out. And I'll shout it. Ollie out, Ollie out, Ollie out, Ollie out. I'm Ollie out. Oh, I'm Ollie out, everybody. I'm Ollie out. Give me a pat on the back. But I'm not. Because if I feel I'm Ollie out, I'll say I'm Ollie out. But I'm past that. I'm past being Jose out and LVG out and Moyes out. I've done that. I've done that for 3 managers. I don't feel... This is bigger than this for me now. This is not about, sack Ollie, bring Poch in. Yeah, we'll go up the table because he's a better coach. But we're not going to get back to where we need to be. And I don't think people understand that. Manchester United are not going to get back to where they need to be, even if they get Klopp or Pep in. We're not winning a title. The club is broken. And I don't think people understand that. They just want me to say Ollie out. And I'll say it for you, Ollie out. But I'm not. Because Pochettino doesn't get us back winning titles. Pep doesn't, Klopp doesn't, whoever the manager is, they're not going to get us to win titles because the club is broken. The board, the owners, the coaching, the players, the bloody recruitment, the fitness, it's all broken. And one manager doesn't change that because a manager comes in. Jose Mourinho came in and yeah, he was done. He was burnt toast. He was overcooked, right? But he was still a very authoritative, one of the best managers in the world. And he could not break through that board to get what he wanted. He still became a puppet that was hung out to dry. So if Mourinho can't change things at the club, and I'm not talking about on the pitch, I'm talking about structural. How can Poch change it? How could any manager change it? We're only getting anywhere if we change the ownership. And that's not going to happen. So chanting Ollie out, I think, is just small fry. It's like winning a tiny battle when the war is going to kill you. And that's how I feel about it. Mark Pelfrey says, under Lampard, Chelsea have at times played some seriously good football. Why can't we do that 1 year on? But Mark, because we've got bad coaches. I mean, look, I'm not going to deny that. We watch every game together. We're awful. Watch the video I did this morning, what Ollie got wrong against Watford. And I'm nearly writing a book. You could nearly write a book about it. There was so much wrong. And there's so many games where we say that. So we're not like Chelsea and we're not like Leicester because we're not very good at coaching. We're awful. It's a work experience scheme, and it's an OAP home. It's not good enough, and I'm happy to say that. I used to feel guilty, but I'm happy to say that because they don't deserve my patience anymore. They've tested it. It's not good enough. But I sit here now in front of you being absolutely honest and saying nothing's going to change. They can't sack Ollie because they've committed to funds to get players in January for him. He can lose to Watford and there's not even a sniff of him getting the sack. The club's going backwards. It's not a big club. We're a former big club. We're a small club with a small mentality that's become a charity. It doesn't matter if you lose to Watford. You're still here till January. Let's see what happens then. As I said yesterday on my match reaction, this coaching setup's got more lives than a cat. They've died 8 times this season and they're still going strong. And a cat's got 9 lives, so they've probably got more lives than 10 cats. They've probably got 90 lives. Do you think there is any chance of a change in ownership? Screw politics, I want the Arabs as our owners, says Jay Singh. The Arabs would be ruthless and get us back. I don't think so. I think fans need to decide what they want from their football club, and I'm certainly not going to dictate to fans what they should do. Manu Expedith says, either Ollie is way too stupid or intelligent at exposing weaknesses in our centre attacking midfield playing Lingard. Maybe Ed would understand if he sees the problem black and white. Look, if Ed Woodward ever wanted to watch the United stand, I would say to him this, mate, your faith in Manchester United is absolutely, in this current setup, is not even naive anymore. It's stupid. You've got to change things. And, but you won't do because you don't really know what you're doing. But I know the situation at Manchester United Football Club. They are terrified. They act like they are in control and they act like, oh, we can do anything. They're absolutely stuck. They've put themselves, the minute they appointed Solskjaer, they've sent themselves down an alley they can't get out of. They cannot sack this manager. Now, and as I said, that's not me saying don't sack him. I'm saying they cannot sack him. They know that. They're absolutely powerless. One of the biggest clubs in the world has become toothless. We're a lion without teeth and claws. We've become a puppet. That's what we are. And it's not Solskjaer's fault, by the way, but they've brought him in. He's absolutely underachieved, massively, but they've put all their eggs in the basket and they cannot sack him. And they know they can't. So they're now there at church, praying for a bloody miracle. And that's Manchester United Football Club's strategy. And I know this. Manchester United strategy is praying. Hands and knees time. You know, biggest club in the world, they're praying for a miracle because there's no strategy. It's this plan or nothing. And they know it. And they can't sack him because they just can't do it. They've committed too much money in January. 2-0 loss to Watford and a 2-1 win against Man City is what is that what Ollie means? There's a fine line between wins and losses, says Bless You Beats. Well, there's always a fine line between wins and losses if you are a mid-table club. There's not fine lines for Liverpool. There's not fine lines for Chelsea. There's not fine lines for Leicester. There's not fine lines for Man City. They win the majority of their games. I mean, look, I'm not a big one for stats, but Manchester United, when they've dominated possession in a game, they've only won 8% of those games. Like, I think Liverpool, when they dominate possession, have won 90% of their games. United, when they've had the most possession of their opposition, have dominated, have only won 8% of those games. I said it on Twitter today. That's like being out in a nightclub and every girl or boy wants to sleep with you, but you go home for a pot noodle and a wank. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, we're dominating games and we're hardly winning any of them. The stats just are terrible. They're absolutely terrible. But as I said, nothing's going to change. And how many of you just feel like your expectations undeliberately have hit the cellar? You know, there is the United fan base is nullified. It's become quiet. It's become lost. It's rudderless because you can only support the team that you support. You're not going to go and support Man City. You're not going to go and support Liverpool. You support Manchester United till you die. That's the way it works. But there's no way forward. There's no hope because we're dictated to by these absolute idiots who just don't have a clue and have absolutely made so many bad mistakes over the last 6 years that now they're stuck with the work that they've done. They can't get out of it. So many problems with that club. And also, the biggest problem is no one wants to relinquish power. Like, I've said it many times before, whether it's Woodward or the board or whatever, any board in that situation would have been sacked 3 years ago. They've continually made horrific mistakes and they still are allowed to do it. You're right, Ollie's at the wheel, says Justin Haight, YT. I want to talk about Sancho and I want to talk about Eriksen, but Jordan Such says, do you know what the problem is at United? You only have to look at Ander Herrera's comments after he left. The same Ander Herrera who would walk back into that midfield of ours. Yeah, Ander Herrera said it. The club's run like a business and not a football club. Mino Raiola said it. Louis van Gaal said it. You know, loads of people have said it. You've all said it. It's sad. It's really sad what Manchester United Football Club has become. And it's really sad that many United fans choose to argue with each other rather than accept whatever your angle is. I mean, I think you can be Ollie in or you can be Ollie out and you can still be united by the fact that the club is sadly, depressingly, emotionally drainingly bad. And it's going to get worse. Doesn't matter whether you're Ollie in or Ollie out. You can still agree on that. It's sad what's happened to our football club. And it's sad what continues to happen to our football club. Please do smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes. I want to talk about De Gea in a moment, but let's talk about Sancho and let's talk about Christian Eriksen. Because it feeds into the same problem. And that is that we have a situation at Manchester United where you've got strong links that Chelsea's going to sign Sancho and loan him back to the end of the season, which is what they did with Pulisic a year ago. So Chelsea have got good links in with Dortmund. There's also a story that Eriksen will not come to Manchester United, Christian Eriksen, in January because he doesn't want to come to United because it's unstable. Doesn't think it's the right move for his career. And also, if he waits till the summer, he's out of contract and he can summarise what his options are then. So it's not looking... I mean, look, what I would say is if Jadon Sancho goes to Chelsea, I don't know what this is going to do to our fan base. I don't know what it's going to do. There's so many of you that have pinned your hopes on United getting Jadon Sancho because he gets on with Lingard and Rashford and because he does Instagram posts with Man United shirts. But I've said this to you many times before. That doesn't mean Man United are in for him. Like, how many good players have we spoken about over the years that should come to United? Lozano, Fabinho, Bruno Fernandes, to name three. None of them came. They were fan theories. They were right. They should have been signed by United. They would have massively improved us. But you're more. This is what I'm saying. You're more intelligent than our recruitment. And you can say that that's Woodward. You can say it's the coaches, whatever. But you are more intelligent because you identify players that we never go for. And I feel that Jadon Sancho, if he goes to Chelsea, this will be such a kick in the nuts for United fans. And obviously, United women fans don't have nuts, so kick in the crutch. And it will be very hard to swallow for a lot of you. For me, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I think Chelsea have always been very efficient in the transfer window, way better than we are. Chelsea are on the up. They're in London. They're getting better and better. They have got a young manager that's doing things. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? A couple of weeks ago, we beat Spurs and we beat Man City, and I think Chelsea lost 3 games in a row, and everyone was going, oh, look at Ollie. Everyone's been living up Lampard's arse, and Ollie's back. Well, 2 weeks later, Lampard's back and Ollie's back where he was. You know, consistency is class, and Lampard is consistent. They play a good brand of football. Their club is on the up. They will be in the Champions League next year. Why wouldn't you go there if you're Sancho? You know, United, as I said to you, we're a former big club. It's going to hurt a lot of United fans if Sancho goes to Chelsea. But if you take the emotion out of it, where would you go as Jadon Sancho? Would you go to Chelsea, where they're playing good, attractive football with a young team that's going to get better and better? Or would you come to Manchester United because Manchester United's a big club, but they're going nowhere? You're going to go to Chelsea. So I choose not to emotionally invest myself in this Sancho deal. I'd like him to come to Manchester United. I think he's going to be one of the world's best players in the next 3 or 4 years. But am I confident we're going to sign him? No. And I think it's a real indication yet again that we are struggling to attract top players because they are looking at Manchester United like Manchester United fans are looking at us and saying this club is on its knees. It's getting worse. It is not the place to be if you want to have a successful career. And Christian Eriksen is looking like doing the same. So more and more of what you lot were saying a year ago, do you think there'll become a point where top players don't want to come to Manchester United? I never really did. I think there will still always be players that want to come here. I mean, look at Liverpool. They didn't win a title for 30 years. They could still bring players in. But there's a certain type of player you can't bring in. And I think United are getting very close to that now. I think there are certain players that we can't bring to this club. Shouldn't Podar says that it's disgraceful that we have Lingard and Mata, yet it's Liverpool that sign an exciting CAM for 7 million. Ed Woodward is the failure, not Ollie. Ollie in. Well, there's an interesting thought on that. Smutty says it's Christmas Eve tomorrow. Merry Christmas to everyone. Yeah. Well, whatever you do, enjoy your Christmas. I mean, God, these people we're talking about are billionaires and millionaires. You know, they're not going to let it bother them that much. You know, they've got professional pride apparently, but they've also got millions in the bank. Us lot haven't. You know, we live with this because we care about it. They're not going to. So make sure you do enjoy your Christmas with your friends and your family or yourself or however you're going to do it. Robert Brennan says, Ollie's problem is not breaking a low block. It's Ollie or the players. I don't know. But Mark, you have said yourself that you don't see Ollie getting us back to the top. So what are you giving Ollie another window for? Robert, you know what? As I said at the start, I hate to say this, but as somebody who runs a fan channel because I'm passionate about fan opinion, I mean, if you look at the fan cams yesterday, I don't know how people can say the United stand's toxic when you've got some people saying Ollie in, some people saying Ollie out, some people saying how great Pogba was, some people saying Pogba shouldn't be here. You know, we cover all of it because that's what fan opinion is. But for the first time in a long time, I feel that fan opinion is irrelevant on Ollie. I do. And obviously I'm not Ollie out, but I don't think he's the right man. But that's because I've got bigger plans that won't come to fruition. So I don't think changing Ollie will change that much. It needs to change in so many other areas, and I can't see the club doing it. So I'm sort of resigned to the fact that this is going to get worse. But whether you're Ollie in or you're Ollie out, it's a redundant argument because he's not going anywhere. He isn't going anywhere, and it's nothing to do with he's shown signs that he's going to improve things. It's just that we're trapped. We're all trapped with Ollie because the club don't and can't sack him. Erling Haaland is coming to United. You know, I could do a video on it now and say, done deal. He's coming to United. And he's coming to United because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can lose the next 4 games before Haaland signs, and he'll still be there in January. Because the club is still going to say, oh, give him time. Because they've committed money to it. And that's the way it's going to be. Ollie has failed the club, and Woodward is destroying the club, says Tato Malmalea. Ollie certainly is not the man for us, says Laja Thomas. We are taking 1 step forward and 3 steps backwards. Ed Woodward is also a problem. United problem is players come for the money now, whereas they used to come and play for Fergie and the club, says Lee Chapman. If Jadon Sancho doesn't sign for United, I'm done with this club and with football, says Isaac. I mean, I think there will be some United fans that do feel like that. Pimp Dollar 123 says players out, they are not worthy of the shirt. I thought they were a disgrace yesterday. Absolute disgrace. And look, Luke Shaw got a lot of stick yesterday, but he was bang on when he said that in the first half we were awful and the passing was dreadful. But I think that with regards to Lingard yesterday, I mean, Ollie picked him, and you know what? I've got a lot of time for Lingard coming out and saying that he struggled with off-field issues. But what's Ollie done since that news came out? In both Premier League games, he's picked Lingard, Everton and Watford. It was just before the Watford game it came out publicly that Lingard was having problems privately. Ollie played him against Everton, we drew. Ollie played him against Watford, we lost. That's on Ollie. Like, I wouldn't pick Lingard, not because he's got personal issues, just because he's not good enough. But Ollie has decided the best thing to do with Lingard's issues is to maybe give him confidence by playing him at the cost of 5 points for United. So you're putting the what you think's right for a player ahead of what's right for the club, or you're just tactically not right. One of the two. But I think if I was manager of Lingard, I personally would have said, you've been bad for 8 months. You've come out and said you've got these personal issues. It's Christmas time. You've got these issues with your family. Go and take off 2 weeks. Don't worry about coming in for training. Take 2 weeks off. Go and spend some time with your family. Come back to me in 2 weeks after Christmas. Tell me where you're at, and we'll address it from there. And look, yeah, you're not going to be ready to play at the start of January, but I'm giving you this time off because your mental health is important to me. And I think that's been mishandled, and I think that's tactically naive as well. But you know, we're all geniuses in hindsight. He could have played him against Everton and Watford. He could have been inspired and got hat-tricks in both, and we win both games, and Ollie's a genius. So fine lines, Ollie, innit? Should we sign a player like I don't know, Pete Squire? I can't even pronounce the name, so I'm not going to pretend to know who you're talking about. Jermaine Duckery says Woodward and the board ain't going anywhere. We need to find out who the chief scout is and put pressure on getting him out. He's a part of the problem too. Well, I don't know that the chief scout is a problem, Jermaine, because I hear things from United about players that have been put forward over the last 5 years. Some of the quality of Bruno Fernandes and De Ligt, and you know, people higher up making the final decisions have said no. I talk about the recruitment department because the recruitment department needs to be used properly. A director of football might solve that problem, but at the moment it's broken. I don't know how good the recruitment of Manchester United is. What I do know is that over 6 years our recruitment's been very bad. But I also know that people like Woodward and Ollie have the final say. So, you know, they could be saying no to Justin Kluivert, Leon Bailey, Bruno Fernandes, Thomas Partey. They could be saying no to all these players, and our staff could be putting them forward. You just don't know. Would you take Moyes back? Says Papando. No. Have we even got a chief scout? Says Smutty. I don't think the structure's there without a director of football, to be honest with you. The board don't want to sack Ollie, but it's going to happen. That says he's not near good enough, says Jared Kennedy. Well, look, I said this last night. I can't hide from this. Looking at the stats, this is our worst start to a Premier League season ever, comfortably, and he should be sacked. He should be sacked. That doesn't mean I'm Ollie out, but that just, you know, I can look at it helicopter view and say, how has he... Well, let me put it this way. Whether I think he should be sacked or not is irrelevant, because I actually want to see other things change before that. But looking at it from... I think if we asked 100 people, should he be sacked, and they don't all have to be United fans, based on these results this season, would you sack him? I think 95% would say yes. And I think the reason for that is he was almost sacked ahead of the Spurs and Man City game. He saved his job. He got the bounce. Apparently he went in before the Spurs game against Mourinho and said to the players, I'm going to get the sack if you don't win this game for me. And they responded for 2 games. But they can't do it. This team can't be consistent. Whether it's 1 game, 3 months, they can't do it over that sort of period. So they then, after the 2 games where he could have been sacked, they then go and draw to Everton and lose to Watford. Most clubs would say, right, we gave you that chance, you got the 2 wins, and it's dropped off terribly again. You've had your chance, you're gone. That's what should and probably would happen at most clubs. But as I said, United aren't going to do it, because we're a former great club run by people who are on their hands and knees praying for a miracle. Julian Lee says, feel sorry that you have to discuss the failings of our club day in, day out. Have become so fed up by the affairs of the club. If the club does not care as much as fans, I don't see why we should. Because we can't stop caring, Julian. That's the whole problem, because we can't stop caring. We just can't. We just can't. And look, the reason I wanted to talk about this today is not, you know, it depresses me. I can feel the tension in me when I talk about it, because it gets me agitated. And I've been down Panto watching Robin Hood, and I've had a few drinks, and I've had a nice family day, and then I come live and it just takes me into that world of frustration, because Manchester United matters to me, and it's Christmas and we don't want to talk about it, but I can't walk away from it. I can't box it off and say they don't care about us anymore, so I'm going to walk away. If anything, it makes me even more engaged, because I'm like, this matters. This has been my life, supporting this football club, and I can't walk away from this situation. But a lot of people have said to me, I've had a few emails, a few direct messages, a few people on Twitter saying, why is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer not being sacked? I can't understand it. You know, he's lost to the bottom of the league comfortably. Things are getting worse again. He's got to go. And I felt that we needed to do a video to explain why he's not going to go. Because the club have committed funds in January for players that are only coming because of their relationship with Ole. And the club are terrified of sacking him because they've invested in him, not just financially, but reputation-wise. They've banked everything on this manager. And they love this manager. And the players love this manager. And to remove him, it's not like with Mourinho or Van Gaal where everyone had turned against him and the fans had turned against him. With Ole, you're removing something that everybody loves, but probably needs to go. And they're terrified of doing it. They're not sacking him because they're protecting themselves, is the bottom line. They're too scared to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's the sentence I would take away. If you're wondering why United have not sacked Solskjaer, it's because they're too scared to do it. They're too scared to do it because they know if they do it, they expose themselves and they'll get the flack. And that's what it's all about. They don't want to get the criticism that they deserve for messing up the club again. So they'll keep sticking by this, hoping for a miracle. And you never know. In 10 years, maybe Ole will get us top 4. I'm joking. You know what? In seriousness, though, if they chucked the 400 million that we need to spend at this club, you never know. Ole might learn a way to get better. But if they don't give the money, they're not going to improve. And also on top of that, is Ole really tactically good enough? Well, I do want to talk about De Gea as well. I want to talk about De Gea because I find... Let me have a drink because I've been talking for ages. And please do smash a like on the video, everyone. Let's see if we can get 1,000 likes while we're live. Also, please do subscribe. I think we're only 10 subscribers away from 602,000. So that could change while we're live on air. So please subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Smash a like on the video. I will answer this one, Brandon, because it's Christmas. Brandon Mahiba says, where do you predict Manchester United to be in the table at the end of the season? I'd love to know what everybody else in the live comments thinks, because I wanted Flex and Rants to answer this because they've got their show going up tomorrow. So hopefully they're going to answer it, but I don't know what their answer is. What do I think Manchester United are going to do this season? Right. Well, I'll say this to you, what I said a few weeks ago. We've got to go to Stamford Bridge. We've got to go to Anfield. We've got to go to the Emirates. We've got to go to Spurs. We've got to go to Leicester. And we've got Man City at Old Trafford. So we've got 6 Premier League games that, you know, actually, they're probably all winnable, aren't they? Because it's the top 6. But we've got 6 tough games really there. On top of that, we're not very consistent against everybody else. So I can't see, if we're on, 25 points now, virtually halfway through the season, 25 points. I think we'll do well to get 60 points. So I can see us being 7th or 8th, which isn't good enough. I think I said a disappointed 6th at the start of the season. Below that's even worse. I don't think we're going to win the Carabao Cup. I think City are going to do us over 2 legs, to be honest with you. I don't think we can beat City over 2 legs. I think we can beat them once, but I think quality will come through over 2 legs. I mean, we had the perfect game against them and it was still only 2-1. So I can't see us beating City. So I don't think we'll win the Carabao Cup. I'm not convinced we're going to get past Wolves in the FA Cup. So I don't think we're going to win that. Europa League, I still think and cling on to the fact that we might win the Europa League. That could be the get out of jail card. But I think no domestic cups, 7th or 8th in the league, and maybe the Europa League. We might win that because there's not enough quality in that. And over 2 legs, I think we can give everybody a game in that, but there's not a club that makes me think they're going to beat us in the Europa League. Like in the domestic cups, there's teams that can beat us. In the league, there's a lot of teams that can beat us. But in the Europa League, I don't see that many teams that can beat us. So we might win the Europa League. Kian Brady says, you say you're not Ollie out yet. You think he should be sacked. Those 2 things don't link up. You're just sitting on the fence. Look, Kian, I really appreciate your comment. But if you're not clever enough to understand the words I've said numerous times, I can't keep repeating myself. 90% of the live comments and the video watchers understand where I'm coming from. If you don't, maybe watch the video back or watch every video I've done over the last few weeks where I've said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should be sacked. By most clubs, he would be sacked. But if you're asking me whether I would sack him, well, no, because I don't think it's going to change anything. I want change and I appreciate it's a fantasy world. If you're saying in the thin parameters of you're never going to get rid of the board, everything's going to stay the same, but you've got a choice of sacking Ollie, I probably would do it. But if you're saying to me, let's sack Ollie and everything's going to get better, I'm going to say to you, no, it's not. No matter who comes in, it's not going to change. The change that needed is about 6 or 7 things. As I said, playing staff, coaching staff, fitness staff, recruitment staff, Ed Woodward, board members, owners. I'd change all that before I changed Ollie, to be honest. And to be honest with you, if you did all that, they'd sack Ollie anyway. So let me talk about De Gea for you. And, you know, I've never sat on the fence. So, you know, if you think I sit on the fence, this channel's not for you, because I've never sat on the fence. I'm not scared to say whatever I think. You know, I think Lingard's absolutely shit. And people might not like that, but I do. And I appreciate that he's gone through a lot of personal issues, but I think he's shit. I'm not sitting on the fence on a massive issue like that. Man comes out with personal issues. What do I think of him as a footballer? I think he's shit. I've got total sympathy with him. And I think that I personally would give him... I mean, look, the thing about Lingard as well is, over the last year, I think he's been shit. And I think that playing him through that's not helping it. But that chance against Watford yesterday where he ran through one-on-one, what a miss. What a miss. And it sums up Lingard. But I looked at that goal he scored for Mourinho against Watford a couple of years ago, where he picks it up in his own half. He goes past 3 players and puts it in. And I'm like, where's that player gone? Like, he had that amazing 2 months, and he's never done it before, and he's never done it after. And I don't get it. There is a player in there, but it's lost. And that's why I would give him a month off and say, look, you've lost who you are. We've tried to play you through it. You're awful, mate. So I would give him a month off and say, look, go and see if you can find yourself. Who is a realistic centre-attacking midfielder signing for United, says Shridan Podder. Well, look, I'm going to do a video tomorrow on that, but realistically, anybody's realistic for United. It just depends when you want to do it. You can't get Maddison in January. You can't do that, but you might be able to get him in the summer. I want to talk about De Gea, though. What does everybody think about De Gea? Because this is going to divide opinion, definitely. With De Gea, I've seen a lot of people saying, get Henderson back from Sheffield United. De Gea's done. He needs dropping. And for me, personally, I'm not going to sit on the fence here to please you. For me, personally, I find this so disrespectfully stupid. Like, De Gea is about the last problem Manchester United have. Changing goalkeeper, if we had a list of 50 things we need to do with that team, it would be in the bottom 5. It is absolutely not something we need to be concerned about with De Gea. Of course he made a mistake yesterday, but we got 0. We didn't score a goal. So that mistake happened right at the start of the second half. We had 45 minutes virtually to turn that round. We still didn't score. Keepers make mistakes. Kepa made a massive mistake. He's made about 4 or 5 mistakes this season, Kepa. But Chelsea are doing really, really well. Exposing De Gea for a couple of mistakes this season. And last week against Everton, it was a foul. I don't care what anybody said. It was a foul. So De Gea this season has been better than last season. Last season, his concentration was off because of how the club treated him with his contract. This year, I think De Gea's been pretty good. He's not quite back to where he was, but he's been pretty good. And he made a clanger yesterday, but keepers do make clangers. And people saying we need to get rid of De Gea, he's a problem. I'm like, where is your head at? Like, where do you wander from centre attacking midfield, CDM, right winger, left back cover, another striker, another midfield to cover what we bring in? All these problems we've got, and people want to talk about the keeper. I'm just like, De Gea is still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He just made a mistake. To me, it's just not that deep. But we want to turn it into something far, far deeper than it is. He's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And he can get better, and it was a bad mistake. But I think maybe because I'm older and I've watched lots of football over the years, I describe it as a sort of FIFA thing where everybody's perfect. And, you know, actually, when I used to watch people like Gascoigne or Cantona or Ronaldo or Beckham or Scholes, they made mistakes. Or Schmeichel or Van der Sar. They did have games where they made mistakes. They're world-class legends of our club, but they had bad games and they made mistakes. And everything in the modern games gets scrutinised massively. So if you make one mistake, that's it, you're done. But I really don't think it was that... I mean, it was costly, but I don't think we were going to win yesterday. I think Watford had the momentum and Watford were going to win that game of football. And they went and got a second goal straight after the first. I mean, that to me was the most disappointing thing, is that when you go 1-0 down from a mistake, that as a team you should respond and go, that's a mistake, we've been robbed, let's go back and get back on top of this game. And we didn't. We sort of dropped our heads and they came forward, they got a penalty and they got a second. So look, I don't really feel that the mistake, it was costly to a certain extent, but it wasn't an excuse as to why we lost. And I certainly don't think that De Gea should be out of the team. I think De Gea might be regretting signing the new contract, to be honest with you, because if the rumours are true, De Gea was given the captaincy. Remember when De Gea came out after we lost, I think it was to Palace or somebody, and said it wasn't good enough? He got stripped of the captaincy. So, he comes out and says it's not good enough, and he gets stripped of the captaincy. That's the rumour. That's why De Gea's not been captain ever since. So he's probably feeling a little pissed off with the club as well. De Gea has earned patience 20 times over, says Charlie Welsh. Well, he has, and I'm glad I didn't even need to say that. He has totally deserved and earned his patience back. De Gea is easily the best goalkeeper for United, and the outfield players need the most criticism, says Jack Horsey. He might not do as good in games anymore, but he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world, says Rukhshana. Lingard and Lindelof have had way more howlers than De Gea had, says Patrick Alectus. Well, I mean, that's the problem about being a goalkeeper, is your mistakes end up costing goals, don't they? Could be worse. We could have Taibbi in goals, says Arctic Wolf. I can't wait until January to see who we get, says Rodney Swain. To be honest with you, I think my excitement for January has drained a little. I think after the Man City game, I was like, yeah, let's go and beat Everton, let's beat Watford, let's beat Newcastle, let's beat Burnley, let's beat Arsenal, and then let's get in the January transfer window. I've got to say, that result yesterday and the one against Everton, it's like being a popped balloon, isn't it? It's deflated, it's deflating, and it's a shock as well. It's not a slow pop, is it? It really was a pop in the face, and it was like, wow. We are going to do business in January, which is part of the reason we're keeping Solskjaer, but I don't know whether it'll be any more than Haaland. As I've said before, it wouldn't surprise me if United did some stupid big gesture like giving Pogba a new massive contract, and we're all meant to go, wow, we're keeping Pogba who's already here, and we need two midfielders, but we're keeping Pogba who's already here and has been inconsistent over the last 3 years, and we're paying him loads more money, and he's like a new signing. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Axing Ollie polarises Man United's fan base with no middle ground, says Ames Adamson. Well, yeah, there are people that want him to stay, so yeah. De Gea has been the best player for us this decade, says Cian Whelan. And do you think we will bounce back versus Newcastle? Well, and Michael Jones says Star Wars was very good. I've got to go and see it again, mate. I think it was a little bit too negative. What did I want to say? Well, I know what I wanted to say. Live content on the United Stand over the Christmas period. We are live on Boxing Day for the watch-along for the Newcastle game. I've got nothing planned live over Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. It doesn't mean we won't be live, but there is Flex and Rant show going up tomorrow 1 o'clock as usual on a Tuesday. There's a video going up at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. I've got a video going up on Christmas Day morning, which is a present to you, which I think you're all going to like. And we've got the preview going up on Christmas Day as well. So there's lots of content coming up on the channel. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. I must just say this actually. I'm very, very surprised that we've not gone over 602,000 because we were so close. Bottom right hand corner, please subscribe. That we were only like 5 subscribers away. I don't know why it's not changed in the bottom right, top right hand corner. Please also smash a like on the video. We're nearly at 1,000 likes, but I will be speaking to you tomorrow, and we may well go live because there's a couple of things I'm sort of waiting on, so we may well be going live tomorrow and Christmas Day. We'll see. But I just wanted to say anyway, because I know a lot of people are breaking up and getting in the festive spirit. Manchester United is our love. It's what binds us, and we love football and we love Manchester United, right? But at the moment, we're being let down by this club, by the players, by the coaches, by the owners, by the board. We are being let down, and we are customers of this club, and we love this club, and we are being let down. And it is very disappointing. But whatever happens, we're not going anywhere. People talk about toxicity and dividing fans and this, that, and the other. I don't really understand how that works when it's just people expressing opinions and having different opinions. But the one thing that really frustrates me, and I don't understand, is we're not going anywhere. You, me, everybody else. Whatever your opinion, we're not going anywhere. We love this club. We're not going anywhere. Through thick and thin, we're still going to support this club. So I just want to say, look, we're never going anywhere. And one day, hopefully soon, it's going to get better. And when it gets better, we can get back where we need to be. But for now, we're licking our wounds. It's not great. We're upset. We're disappointed, we're frustrated, and we're lost. But we're still united. And you've still got you, and we've still got each other. And we've got a great community here. And I want to say to each and every one, no matter what you're doing, no matter whether you celebrate it or not, no matter with your friends or on your own or you're at work, whatever you are doing, this community is important. It always will be important. And you make this community what it is. It's part of something, and you are part of it. So have a good Christmas. Don't let this united world bog you down that you can't switch off for 48 hours, and just enjoy the content we've got coming up and enjoy the festive period, because that's what life's for. So Merry Christmas to all of you, and I hope you have a fantastic time whatever you're doing. Be happy, keep smiling, and keep being part of this community, because you're all fantastic and I really appreciate it. So thanks everyone for watching. Smash a like on the video. I will see you tomorrow, and thank you very much.